You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the architect of your future. The mistakes you made, the fears you listened to, the time you wasted, it's all behind you. And while most people drag their past into every new day like a chain, you don't have to. Because identity is not fixed. It's repeated. It's practiced. It's installed through the choices you make and the laws you live by. The greatest men in history were not born powerful. They built power, not by chasing motivation, but by following laws. Principles that rewired their minds, structured their actions, and carved their names into history. These laws are not emotional. They are foundational. They do not ask you to try harder. They command you to live differently. Maybe you've struggled to stay consistent. Maybe you've felt stuck in cycles you can't seem to break. Maybe you've started strong but always slowed down. That's not because you're weak. It's because your identity is still operating on an outdated system. And the only way to change that is to replace it with a new one. Today, I'm going to share with you the 10 laws that will rewrite your life. These laws you're about to learn are not motivation. They're mental reprogramming. They are the new code that will install discipline, direction, and power into every layer of your life. Repeat them, live them, and you will become unrecognizable in the best way possible. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I walk you through each one and watch how your identity begins to change forever. Let's dive in. Law number 1. The law of identity repetition. You are not what you occasionally do. You are what you consistently repeat. Your habits, your thoughts, your language, your decisions. Everything you do on a loop is shaping your identity. This is the law of identity repetition. And it says this: the man you become is the result of what you rehearse daily. Most people try to change their life by focusing on outcomes. They set goals, chase milestones, and push for results. But what they fail to realize is that lasting change never comes from the outside. It comes from who you believe you are. And that belief is built not through force, but through repetition. You are not born disciplined. You become disciplined by repeating disciplined behavior. You are not naturally confident. You become confident by repeating thoughts, words, and actions that reinforce confidence. Your identity is like wet cement. Every repetition leaves a mark, and over time, those marks harden into self-image. Let's look at Bruce Lee, one of the most iconic martial artists the world has ever seen. He wasn't powerful just because of talent. He became powerful through obsession. He once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Bruce understood the law. Mastery comes from repetition. Identity comes from what you do daily, not once in a while when you're inspired. It's the same with your mindset. If you repeat hesitation, you'll become hesitant. If you repeat excuses, you'll become someone who always finds a way out. But if you repeat the identity you want, through thought, through speech, through behavior, you begin to live it. Slowly, then suddenly. Here's the truth. You are not stuck. You're just still rehearsing the wrong version of yourself. You're repeating fear, repeating doubt, repeating stories that belong to your past. But the moment you start repeating a new standard, a new voice, a new command, the shift begins. So how do you install this law? Step 1. Create a single identity statement. One sentence, present tense, clear and powerful. Example, I am focused, disciplined, and built for legacy. This becomes your anchor. Step 2. Repeat it daily. Morning, night, and anytime you feel resistance. Don't just say it, declare it. Say it with force until your nervous system accepts it as truth. Step 3. Back it with behavior. Even if it's small, speak like that man. Move like that man. Make decisions like that man. Because the more you act in alignment, the more repetition turns into reality. This is the law of identity repetition. And if you obey it, you won't have to force change. You'll change. Because what you repeat, you become every single time. Number 2, the law of unbreakable faith. There will come a moment in your life when you're standing on the edge, when nothing feels certain, when fear rises, and when every voice around you tells you to back down. That's the moment that separates the average from the unstoppable, not by talent, not by luck, but by one thing: faith. This is the law of unbreakable faith, and it says you either feed fear or you install faith. There is no in between. Most people don't fail because of lack of skill. They fail because they bow to hesitation. They carry more belief in what could go wrong than in what could go right. They let fear take the front seat. And the more they wait, the more that fear multiplies. But here's the truth. Fear is not something you manage, it's something you replace. And the only thing strong enough to replace fear is faith. Faith is not a feeling, it's not a good mood or a wave of inspiration. Faith is a discipline. It's a decision you repeat until it becomes automatic. Faith is what you choose to believe when the evidence isn't clear, when the outcome is uncertain, and when the path ahead feels like a fog. The man who builds something legendary is not the man who was sure. It's the man who decided to believe anyway. Let's take the story of Florence Nightingale. In the 1800s, she was born into wealth and privilege. Women in her position were expected to marry, stay quiet, and follow tradition. But Florence felt a different calling. She believed she was meant to reform healthcare. An idea so radical at the time that even her own family opposed it. When she began working in military hospitals during the Crimean War, what she found was horror. Wounded soldiers dying from infection, filth, and neglect. Most people would have broken, but she didn't. Her faith and her mission became unbreakable. She rewrote hospital systems, introduced hygiene practices that saved lives, and transformed the very definition of nursing. Today, she's remembered not just for her work, but for the belief that powered it. That's what faith looks like. Not comfort, convenient, but action in the middle of chaos. Florence Nightingale didn't wait for permission. She moved with conviction. Faith is what lets you move when fear says stop. It's what keeps you going when failure whispers in your ear. It's what speaks louder than the voices of doubt. But here's what most people miss. Faith isn't something you just have. It's something you build. You build it through declaration, speaking your vision out loud daily, not as a wish but as a command. You build it through movement, acting even when you don't feel ready. You build it through refusal, refusing to speak fear, to joke about failure, or to water down your mission for comfort. Let's take Henry Ford as another example. When he shared his idea for a horseless carriage, people laughed. They said it was ridiculous, impossible, even dangerous. Then when he wanted to produce an 8-cylinder engine in a single block, his own engineers told him it couldn't be done. And what did he say? Build it anyway. They failed. He told them again, build it anyway. Why? Because his faith was not based on proof. It was based on decision. Ford's belief was so clear, so loud, so practiced, that even when the evidence said impossible, his subconscious kept pushing for done. That's what makes faith unbreakable. You rehearse it, you speak it, you act like it's already yours. Not once, but daily. Because repetition is the only language your mind understands. Fear will speak to you all day long. That's its job. Your job is to build a voice that's stronger, louder, and more consistent. Here's how to install the law of unbreakable faith into your life. First, create a faith declaration. One sentence. Present tense. Future-backed. Say it like law. For example, I walk in power. I trust my vision. I move before I'm ready. Second, identify where fear is winning in your life. Is it stopping you from starting, from finishing, from speaking up? Name it. Then begin to move through it, one step at a time. Don't wait to feel fearless. Walk into the discomfort and let faith grow through action. Third, starve fear of its food, language. Remove weak phrases from your vocabulary. No more "we'll see," maybe later. Or "I hope it works." Speak only what builds, what directs, what declares. Say this out loud right now. I do not obey fear. I act in faith. I move like a man who has already won. Say it again tomorrow. Say it until hesitation has no room left to breathe. And remember this, the future does not belong to the man with the best ideas. It belongs to the man with the strongest belief. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you were born to be. And if you're willing to walk that bridge with your eyes on vision instead of obstacles, you will become unstoppable. This is the law of unbreakable faith, not an emotion, not a theory, but a decision you make daily and the discipline to stick with it no matter what. When you live by it, you don't just hope for a better future. You move like it's already on the way. Number 3, the law of definite purpose. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're unclear. They drift from one idea to the next, one habit to the next, 1 year to the next, never quite locking on to one defining purpose. This is the law of definite purpose. And it says this: without a clear aim, your energy has no power. But when you focus your life around one dominant mission, everything begins to align. The man who wakes up without a purpose is vulnerable to everything: distractions, opinions, fears, comparisons. His life becomes a game of reaction. One notification can hack his morning. One piece of bad news can ruin his progress. One person's criticism can change his entire mood. Why? Because he doesn't have an anchor. He hasn't declared what he's here to build. But the moment a man locks into one definite purpose, something powerful happens. His mind sharpens. His time becomes structured. His decisions get faster. And the storms around him start to lose their grip. Because clarity creates momentum, and clarity comes from purpose. Let's take the example of Nikola Tesla. While others sought fame, money, or status, Tesla was consumed by one mission: to harness the power of energy and bring light to the world. He wasn't distracted by politics or popularity. He poured every waking moment into perfecting his inventions. Even when he faced rejection, financial ruin, and betrayal, his aim never changed. His environment shifted. His circumstances changed. But his purpose remained fixed. Tesla's obsession wasn't scattered. It was singular. And because of that, the world still benefits from his vision over a century later. That's what a definite purpose does. It outlives the man who carries it. Now contrast that with most people today. They want 10 different things. They want to be successful but also comfortable. They want to be focused, but scroll endlessly. They want growth, but live without direction. This is why the average man burns out. Not because he's doing too much, but because he's pulled in too many directions with no clear why. A definite purpose is not just a goal. It's not something you casually write on a list. It's a command you give to your mind every single day. It is the one mission that all other decisions must serve. It's the answer to every distraction, every temptation, every delay. Here's another timeless example. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks. Schultz didn't just want to sell coffee. His aim was to bring the culture and community of Italian cafes to America, places where people could connect, feel warmth, and have a shared human experience. That vision drove every detail: the design of the store, the training of staff, the tone of the brand. He wasn't selling a drink. He was serving a purpose. And that's what makes a brand or a life powerful. Purpose brings consistency. It cuts through confusion. It makes decision-making simple. You don't need 1,000 answers when you have one direction. Here's the truth. If you don't decide your purpose, the world will decide it for you. You'll end up building someone else's vision, living for someone else's goals, running at full speed with no finish line in sight. And when that happens, even hard work becomes empty. But the moment you declare your aim and begin to align your life around it, you begin to move with certainty. You stop wasting time. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing approval because you're no longer wandering. You're building. So how do you install this law? Step 1. Write your definite purpose in one powerful sentence. Present tense. Specific. Unapologetic. For example, I am building a platform that teaches men how to rise with discipline and lead with clarity. Your statement should be so clear that every decision can be measured against it. Step 2. Repeat it out loud every morning and night, not as a mantra, as a mission. Let your mind hear it over and over again until it becomes your default focus. Step 3. Align your behavior. Start asking yourself throughout the day, does this serve my purpose? If the answer is no, it doesn't mean your calendar, your conversations, or your mind. Let your purpose decide how you use your time. Step 4. Protect your aim. Distractions will come. Doubt will whisper. Others will question you. But when your purpose is definite, you'll have the strength to stay on course. Your clarity will become your shield. Say this out loud. I do not drift. I do not guess. I know what I'm building. My purpose is clear, and my time serves my mission. The law of definite purpose is what separates the man who tries everything from the man who finishes something. It's what turns raw potential into structured power. And once you install it, you no longer move through life hoping things work out. You move through life building exactly what you came here to build. Purpose is the great filter. It removes the unnecessary, it elevates the important, and it transforms the man who declares it into someone the world cannot ignore. So if you feel stuck, scattered, or uncertain, don't work harder. Get clear. Then repeat that clarity every day until your mind, your time, your habits, and your results fall in line. That's the power of living by law. And this is the law of definite purpose. Live by it, and your life will stop reacting and start advancing. Number 4, the law of specialized power. Power doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from mastering one thing. In today's world, where everyone is chasing the next big idea, the next viral trend, the next shortcut to success, the ones who truly rise are those who go deep, not wide. This is the law of specialized power. It states your value in the world increases in direct proportion to the depth of your knowledge and skill in a specific domain. The average man dabbles. He starts something, then jumps to something else when it gets hard. He watches videos, reads books, listens to podcasts, but never commits to a path long enough to develop mastery. He's constantly stimulated, but rarely sharpened. And because of that, he's easily replaced. But the man who picks a focus, carves a lane, and obsesses over it becomes irreplaceable. Let's look at the life of Marie Curie, a woman who changed the world not by doing everything, but by going deep into one field. She wasn't interested in being known for versatility. She dedicated her life to the study of radioactivity, a field that barely existed before her. Through relentless research, discipline, and specialized focus, she became the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different sciences. And the reason her name lives on today is because she understood this law. General knowledge makes you informed, but specialized knowledge makes you powerful. Here's what most people get wrong. They believe success comes from being good at many things, but that mindset spreads your energy too thin. A wide net might catch attention, but it rarely catches mastery. Specialization, on the other hand, turns your time into a weapon. When you commit to mastering one field, when you go so deep that others come to you for answers, you start to shift from consumer to leader, and that's when doors begin to open. Take Leonardo da Vinci as another timeless example. Yes, he was a polymath, but in each field he pursued, he became a specialist first. When he studied anatomy, he didn't skim. He dissected bodies, drew detailed illustrations, measured muscles, bones, and veins by hand, dozens of times over. When he studied engineering, he didn't stop at theory. He built models, ran tests, refined designs obsessively. His genius didn't come from dabbling. It came from depth. Today, net rewards short attention, but the real world still rewards mastery. Employers don't hire generalists for mission-critical tasks. Clients don't pay premium prices for basic services. The most respected names in any industry, whether it's medicine, architecture, athletics, business, or art, are people who went deeper than anyone else was willing to go. You don't need to be born with genius. You need to build your edge through focused effort. So how do you install this law? Step 1. Choose your lane. What is the one skill, field, or topic that aligns with your purpose and lights you up enough to study it for years? Don't chase what's trending. Choose what you're willing to master. This decision alone will remove 90% of the noise from your life. Step 2. Build a mastery roadmap. List the books, mentors, resources, courses, and challenges that will make you better in that field. Then create a structure around it. Daily study, weekly application, monthly reflection. Track your progress like your life depends on it, because your future does. Step 3. Teach what you learn. The fastest way to sharpen your knowledge is to explain it to others. Share it in conversations, social posts, videos, or writing. Teaching forces clarity. It turns scattered ideas into strong frameworks. Step 4. Apply what you know. You don't become a master by collecting information. You become a master by building with it. Turn theory into experience. Create, test, fail, refine, build again. Specialization grows through repetition, not just research. Step 5. Protect your focus. Don't let shiny distractions pull you back into the crowd. When people ask why you're not doing everything, answer simply, because I'm doing this one thing better than anyone else. Say it out loud. I do not scatter my energy. I focus it. I build mastery. I go deep. I become powerful. Let's revisit Thomas Edison as well. He wasn't a philosopher, a writer, or a politician. He focused on invention and industrial innovation. He spent years in his lab perfecting one system at a time: filaments, resistors, generators. Thousands of failed experiments didn't push him to switch fields. They pushed him to go deeper. And because of that, he created something the world had never seen: electric light at scale. The man wasn't just intelligent. He was focused. Here's what you must understand. Your greatest breakthroughs will come from your narrowest focus. The world does not need more generalists. It needs more specialists who are willing to commit to depth. So if you want to become valuable, respected, in demand, stop trying to know a little about everything. Start becoming the best at one thing. And let that specialization become your signature. This is the law of specialized power. Live by it, and you'll never have to chase opportunity again. Opportunity will start chasing you. Number 5. The law of environmental elevation. No matter how strong your mindset, no matter how powerful your vision, if your environment doesn't support your growth, it will slowly destroy it. This is the law of environmental elevation. It declares you will never rise beyond the quality of the space you consistently place yourself in. And that space includes people, places, voices, habits, and even your digital atmosphere. You see, your environment is not passive, it's active. It's shaping you right now. Every conversation, every piece of content, every room you sit in, it's either pulling you up or dragging you down. There is no neutral ground. Most people underestimate this. They try to change their life while staying in the same circles, listening to the same opinions, scrolling the same feeds, and consuming the same low-value input that's been reinforcing their limitations for years. Then they wonder why their motivation fades, why their habits collapse, why their identity feels weak. But it's not about willpower. It's about proximity. If you're surrounded by doubt, mediocrity, negativity, or distraction, it will soak into you whether you like it or not. That's why the men who rise build their own environment. They don't leave it to chance. They craft it with intention, and they protect it like it's sacred, because it is. Let's look at an example from history. The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur. These two men didn't have access to elite universities, massive funding, or government support. They ran a bicycle shop. They studied wind patterns. They built prototypes in a small wooden shed. But what made them succeed wasn't their resources. It was their environment. They surrounded themselves with ideas that lifted their thinking. They kept skeptics out of their inner circle. And most importantly, they built an atmosphere of focus, experimentation, and belief. That shed became more than a workshop. It became a launch pad for human flight. That's the power of elevation. It's not about where you live. It's about what you allow around your mind. Look at your life right now. Who do you talk to most? Do they stretch your thinking or shrink your goals? What do you listen to when no one's watching? Does it charge your ambition or lull it to sleep? What physical spaces do you spend time in? Are they chaotic, messy, uninspiring, or do they reflect the future you're building? Let's not pretend these things don't matter. They matter more than you think. Even Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, understood this deeply. His laboratory wasn't just a place for experiments. It was a controlled mental environment. He removed assistants who joked too much about failure. He wouldn't tolerate prolonged negativity. Not because he lacked a sense of humor, but because he understood the weight of belief. He knew that one sarcastic comment, repeated enough, could corrode the faith it takes to create the impossible. You must protect your environment the same way. Not out of fear, but out of vision. You are building something, and builders do not let termites live in their foundation. So how do you install the law of environmental elevation? Step 1. Audit your circle. List the 5 people you spend the most time around, digitally or in real life. Then ask, do they challenge me? Do they believe in my growth? Do they hold me to a higher standard? If the answer is no, you don't have a circle. You have a ceiling. Step 2. Create your mental sanctuary. Dedicate a space, no matter how small, where you focus on growth. It could be a desk, a corner, a journal, a playlist. Make it clean. Make it quiet. Make it sacred. This is your construction zone for identity. Treat it like a temple. Step 3. Control your inputs. What books are you reading? What videos are you watching? What voices are you letting speak into your subconscious daily? Remember, your subconscious doesn't filter quality. It accepts whatever is repeated. So don't just consume content. Curate it. Choose it with discipline. Let every input serve your future. Step 4. Build a growth alliance. If you don't have people in your life who elevate you, go find them. Join communities. Attend events. Connect people who are walking the same path. One conversation with the right person can shift your perspective forever. Say this aloud. I do not breathe the air of average. I build my atmosphere with fire. My environment fuels my elevation. Let's bring it home with one more example. Booker T. Washington, born into slavery, who became one of the most influential educators and leaders in American history. He understood that freedom wasn't just physical, it was mental. He built institutions, but more importantly, he built environments of empowerment. He surrounded young black men and women with possibility, discipline, belief, and vision. Because he knew, change a man's surroundings, and you can change his destiny. You must do the same. Maybe your past didn't give you the best starting environment. That's okay, because the law isn't about where you come from. It's about what you create around you now. Build a space so powerful that doubt can't survive in it. Build a circle so strong that your lowest days still keep you rising. And build a routine so focused that your identity doesn't drift when life gets loud. This is the law of environmental elevation. And once you live by it, you'll stop forcing motivation, because your atmosphere will carry you. Your energy will feel different. Your thoughts will sound different. And your life will begin to reflect the air you breathe. Number 6. The law of creative declaration. Before anything becomes real in your life, it becomes a word in your mouth. Your voice is not just a tool for communication, it's a tool for creation. This is the law of creative declaration, and it states what you speak consistently with conviction, you begin to believe, and what you believe, you begin to build. Most people don't understand the power of their own words. They speak casually, they speak carelessly, they joke about failure, they downplay their goals, they use soft language like maybe, someday, or if I can. What they don't realize is that every word they say is planting a seed in their subconscious. And your subconscious doesn't filter or fact check. It simply obeys what's repeated with emotion. Let's say that again. Your mind becomes loyal to your language. You can dream big, journal deeply, visualize every morning. But if your mouth keeps saying, I'm not ready, I'm overwhelmed, or this probably won't work, then you are programming defeat into your nervous system. You are feeding your doubt and starving your belief. That's why the men who rise speak with clarity, with command, with certainty. Even before the world believes them, they declare it out loud until they believe it themselves. Take Bo Jackson, one of the most gifted athletes in history. He didn't just play 2 professional sports. He dominated them. But long before the world caught up to his talent, he was already speaking it into existence. He talked about how he was going to break records, win titles, and defy expectations. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. His speech was tuned to his identity. And when your words line up with your purpose, the world begins to bend around your belief. Look also at Muhammad Ali. He called himself the greatest before anyone else did. He declared victory before the fight. He said it so often with such force and fire that even his opponents began to believe it. But here's the part most people miss. He wasn't boasting. He was installing. He was programming his mind to see himself as a winner long before he stepped into the ring. That's what made him dangerous. He didn't need evidence. He had declaration. And that's what you must build. A voice that doesn't describe reality, but directs it. Most people speak based on what they see. But leaders, builders, winners, they speak based on what they decide. And that's how they bend the world forward. They don't wait until everything is perfect. They don't wait until others believe in them. They declare, this is who I am. This is what I'm building. This is already mine. So how do you install the law of creative declaration? Step 1. Write your identity script. 1 or 2 powerful sentences that define the man you are becoming, spoken in the present tense. For example, I am focused, disciplined, and decisive. I execute daily. I build what I say I'll build. Keep it sharp. Keep it strong. Step 2. Speak it out loud every single day. Morning, night, and especially when you feel resistance. Don't whisper it. Don't recite it like a school assignment. Say it like a warrior, like a commander. Let your tone carry authority. Because your subconscious doesn't respond to weak volume. It responds to repetition, rhythm, and emotional charge. Step 3. Eliminate language that betrays your vision. Words like I can't, I'm trying, it's hard, maybe later. These are not just harmless phrases. They are identity sabotage. They train your mind to expect hesitation, not progress. Cut them. Replace them with power. Step 4. Reframe setbacks through speech. Don't say I failed. Say I learned. Don't say it's taking too long. Say it's building me. Don't speak the delay. Speak the destiny. Your words don't have to reflect your circumstances. They need to reflect your commitment. Say this now. I speak what I am becoming. My voice builds my future. My words are commands, not commentary. Even Andrew Carnegie practiced this law. Every day he would write and repeat his definite purpose statement, aloud, with energy and certainty. He wasn't trying to stay motivated. He was reprogramming his subconscious to obey his vision. And that's how he built an empire. Not just in steel, but in self-belief. Now let's bring this to you. Ask yourself, when fear shows up, what do you say? When doubt creeps in, what do you speak? When you're alone and no one is watching, what's the internal dialogue playing in your mind? Because if your voice is not trained, your thoughts will default to the old script. But when your voice leads, your mind follows. When you speak with clarity, the fog of confusion lifts. When you declare with power, hesitation shrinks. This is not about fake confidence. It's about real programming. Your voice is the most powerful tool you carry, and it's time to wield it with precision. The man who repeats power becomes power. The man who speaks destiny walks into it. The man who leads with his words doesn't wait for life to give him permission. He gives himself permission daily. This is the law of creative declaration. Live by it, and your speech becomes your strategy. Your words become your weapon, and your life begins to echo the strength of your voice. Speak as if it's already done, and one day it will be. Number 7. The law of immediate motion. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you need to feel ready before you act. That someday the stars will align, the fear will disappear, the perfect conditions will appear, and then you'll move. But here's the truth. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. This is the law of immediate motion, and it declares action is not the confidence, it is the cause of it. The difference between people who build their vision and people who talk about it comes down to one thing: who moves first, not who has the best plan, not who knows the most, not who's the most inspired. The world doesn't reward ideas, it rewards execution. And execution only begins when you learn to act before you're comfortable. Let's make this real. Think about Harriet Tubman. She was born into slavery, endured unthinkable conditions, and could have easily accepted a life of fear and limitation. But she didn't. She escaped. And not only for herself, but for others. Over and over again, she returned through danger, darkness, and uncertainty to lead others to freedom. She didn't wait for guarantees. She didn't ask for applause. She moved. That's the legacy of immediate motion. When fear told her to freeze, she walked anyway. When the road was unclear, she moved anyway. And that's the same mindset you need if you want to rewrite your life. You may not be in physical chains, but many are in mental ones. They're stuck in the loop of overthinking, of waiting for clarity, of researching endlessly, hoping that one day they'll suddenly feel ready. But here's what you must understand. Clarity doesn't come before movement. It comes because of it. Confidence doesn't grow by thinking. It grows by stepping forward, especially when you're uncertain. Take Walt Disney for another example. Long before Disneyland became a global phenomenon, it was just an idea, a dream that seemed ridiculous to most people. Investors said no. Critics laughed. Even those close to him doubted whether people would want to pay to walk around a theme park. But Walt didn't wait. He didn't try to perfect it on paper for years. He acted. He bought land. He gathered a team. He started building. And that action, despite the fear and the risk, turned fantasy into legacy. That's what motion does. It turns vision into momentum. The law of immediate motion doesn't mean you jump recklessly. It means you refuse to let fear paralyze you. It means you take the first step, even if you can't see step 10. It means you move with intention, not perfection. Here's how to install this law in your life. Step 1. Shorten the gap between decision and action. When you decide something, start, not tomorrow. Now, even if it's a tiny step, send the message, make the call, write the first sentence, lift the first weight. The longer you wait, the louder fear gets. Step 2. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task or idea can be started in 2 minutes or less, don't schedule it. Don't plan it. Just begin. Action builds belief, and belief reinforces identity. Step 3. Train your identity with micro wins. Every time you follow through, even in a small way, you strengthen the identity of a doer. When you break that chain, you reinforce the identity of a thinker. You are what you consistently act on. Step 4. Remove the illusion of the perfect moment. There is no perfect time, no ideal setup, no guaranteed outcome. If it matters, move now. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and progress only happens when motion becomes your instinct. Say this out loud. I move before I feel ready. I act when others pause. I trust my direction more than my doubt. The world is full of brilliant people stuck in neutral, and they're not stuck because they lack talent. They're stuck because they believe the lie that more information equals more confidence. But real confidence, the kind that changes lives, is built in the fire of doing, not just dreaming. Look at Abraham Lincoln, standing in a nation divided by civil war, uncertainty pressing in from side. He didn't wait for unity to magically appear. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation when the timing was controversial. When others said not yet, he said now, because he knew that leadership means moving when it's hard, not just when it's safe. You have that same power. You have that same ability to shift your life, not by doing everything at once, but by doing something immediately. One step leads to another. One action rewires identity, and that identity becomes your new baseline. The old you hesitated, the new you acts. The old you made excuses, the new you moves anyway. This is the law of immediate motion, and once you live by it, you'll stop waiting for motivation. You'll stop asking for permission. You'll stop doubting whether you're ready, because you'll already be moving, and motion creates its own momentum. So the next time fear says, wait, you respond with action. The next time your mind says, not yet, your feet say, let's go. And over time, those steps, however small, build a life that others only dream about. Act first, think after, build while others hesitate. This is how leaders are made. This is how identity is rewritten. And it all starts with motion. Now, number 8, the law of inner command. You've probably heard this phrase before. You are your own worst enemy, but the deeper truth is this. You are also your greatest commander. The difference lies in how you use the voice inside your head. This is the law of inner command. It states your internal dialogue shapes your external results. The words you whisper to yourself in silence determine the strength you carry in public. Most people lose their battles before they ever begin. Not because they're not talented, not because they don't have potential, but because their inner voice is untrained, undisciplined, and uncontrolled. They walk into challenges already defeated because the voice inside says, "I'm not ready. I always mess this up," or "This is too much for me." And whether they realize it or not, they're obeying commands from the weakest parts of their identity. Your thoughts may be automatic, but your voice, that's chosen, that's trained. And once you take control of your inner language, your entire life begins to follow. Because nothing builds power like speaking power to yourself when no one else is around. Take Nelson Mandela, for example. He spent 27 years in prison, much of it in solitary confinement. He was cut off from his family, betrayed by his country, and left in brutal conditions. He had every excuse to let bitterness take over, to let his mind deteriorate, but he didn't. He trained it. He rehearsed his mission. He repeated his vision. And when he finally walked out of that prison, he didn't walk out as a broken man. He walked out with clarity, with conviction, with peace, and with the strength to unify a divided nation. That's the law of inner command in action. Mandela's power wasn't just political, it was internal. It was the discipline of mastering his self-talk, turning isolation into preparation. That's what you must learn to do. Because life will always send storms. You can't control what happens outside of you, but you can control the language you speak to yourself when it does. And the man who owns his inner voice cannot be shaken by external chaos. Think about it. When you're tired, what do you say to yourself? When you fail, what's your inner response? When things don't go according to plan, do you spiral into doubt, or do you rise into command? The mind is always listening, and if you speak weakness long enough, it will install it as identity. But if you speak direction, discipline, and strength, even when you feel the opposite, your subconscious will follow your lead. It will begin to align your feelings, behaviors, and patterns to match what you speak. That's why every great leader, athlete, inventor, and builder has had some form of inner ritual, a way to speak belief before results show up. Let's go back to Frederick Douglass, a man who transformed from a slave with no rights into one of the most powerful voices of freedom in history. He taught himself to read, educated himself in secret, and then rewrote the narrative of an entire generation. And he did it by mastering the war inside his own head. He spoke to himself like a free man, long before the world recognized his freedom. That's not delusion, that's inner command. So how do you install this law? Step 1. Identify your default inner language. When you're under pressure, what does your mind say? Is it critical? Is it panicked? Is it uncertain? Don't lie to yourself. Write it down. Awareness is the first step to transformation. Step 2. Replace and reprogram. Create 3-5 powerful identity statements that counter your default weakness. Examples. I finish what I start. I do not fold under pressure. I rise through it. I control my focus. I command my mind. Say them daily. Say them especially when your old identity shows up. Step 3. Speak in challenges. When things get hard, say something on purpose. Declare something. Don't just absorb stress. Command clarity. The more you speak power and pressure, the more automatic that voice becomes. Step 4. Never joke about failure. Your subconscious doesn't know sarcasm. It just records what's repeated. If you constantly say things like, I'm so stupid, I'm a mess, I always screw this up, you're training your identity to agree. From this day forward, no more weak language, especially in humor. Say this aloud. I command my thoughts. I lead my emotions. I speak the identity I am becoming. This law is not glamorous. It's not flashy, but it is foundational. Because no matter how talented you are, if your inner voice is weak, your outer performance will always fall short. You don't become unshakable by avoiding adversity. You become unshakable by installing language that does not bend when adversity shows up. Even Abraham Lincoln, in the darkest days of the Civil War, when generals argued and death was everywhere, he turned inward, he journaled, he reflected. He wrote speeches alone by candlelight, not just for the nation, but to remind himself what he believed. His external leadership came from inner alignment. You must do the same. From now on, you are the general of your mind. You are the gatekeeper of your identity, and you do not speak of failure, even when you feel it. You speak focus. You speak discipline. You speak rise. This is the law of inner command, and once you live by it, you no longer wait for life to motivate you. You train your mind to obey you, and when your inner voice becomes stronger than the world around you, there is no challenge that can stop you. Number 9. The law of time dominion. Time is the great equalizer. Every man, no matter how rich or poor, gifted or ordinary, disciplined or distracted, wakes up with the same 24 hours. The difference is not in how much time you have. It's in how you command it. This is the law of time dominion. And it declares the man who controls his hours, controls his outcomes. You don't rise by chance. You rise by rhythm. Rhythm is built through intentional time ownership. Most people float through the day, answering messages, reacting to problems, jumping from one thing to the next. Their schedules are filled with urgency, but lacking in strategy. They confuse activity with productivity, but being busy isn't the same as building. The truth is, your calendar is a mirror. It reflects what you value, what you fear, and what you're avoiding. If your time is scattered, your life will be. If your days are reactive, your goals will stay out of reach. Let's look at Isaac Newton, one of the greatest minds in history. During the Great Plague in 1665, when Cambridge University shut down, most students went home and paused their progress. But Newton used that season differently. Isolated and uninterrupted, he studied, reflected, experimented, and wrote in that short period. What became known as his Year of Wonders, he developed the foundation for calculus, theories of optics, and the law of universal gravitation. Not because he had more time, but because he commanded the time he had. Time domination is not about cramming your schedule, it's about mastery of focus. It's about knowing what matters, protecting it, and eliminating what doesn't. It's about living by design, not by demand. Let's be honest. How many hours a week are you actually in control of? How often do you let your phone dictate your attention? Or let someone else's urgency derail your priority? How many mornings begin without a clear target? How many evenings end in frustration because the day slipped through your fingers? This is not a discipline issue. It's a structure issue. When your days are unstructured, your emotions take control, and emotions make terrible time managers. But when your time is planned with clarity, your energy rises to meet your structure. Another timeless example is Benjamin Franklin, a statesman, inventor, writer, diplomat, and founder. Yet he still had 24 hours like everyone else. His secret, a daily time-blocked schedule. Every hour had a role. Mornings were for reflection and planning, afternoons for focused execution, evenings for review and reset. He didn't leave his time to chance. He treated it like gold, because it is. So how do you install the law of time dominion? Step 1. Design your day before it begins. Don't let your day start with noise. Plan it the night before or in the first 15 minutes of the morning. What are your top 3 priorities? What will you say no to? What blocks of time are sacred? Step 2. Master your morning. Your first hour sets the tone for the rest of the day. Don't start it with scrolling or reacting. Start with silence, declaration, focus, and motion. The man who owns his morning owns his identity. Step 3. Use time blocks, not to-do lists. A list is passive. A calendar is active. Assign each task a time. Protect that time. Treat it like an appointment with your future, because it is. Step 4. Implement the rule of 1. What is the one thing today that, if completed, will move your life forward the most? Make it non-negotiable. Do it first. Momentum is built on completion, not contemplation. Step 5. Audit and adjust. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to reflect. What worked? What distracted you? Where did you leak energy? Use that intel to improve the next day. Without reflection, time slips by unnoticed. Say this out loud. I command my time. My focus. My hours serve my mission. Look also at Charles M. Schwab, one of the steel magnates mentored by Andrew Carnegie. When Schwab wanted to increase productivity, he brought in consultant Ivy Lee. Lee gave him one simple technique. At the end of each workday, write down the 6 most important tasks for tomorrow. Rank them by priority. Focus on one until it's done, then move to the next. No multitasking, no confusion. Schwab used it, taught it to his team, and productivity soared. He later paid Lee $25,000 for that advice, a massive sum in the early 1900s. Why? Because structured time is that valuable. Time wasted is not just time lost. It's identity delayed. You can't become a focused man with scattered hours. You can't become a builder if your calendar is filled with busyness instead of creation. From this moment forward, treat time like territory. Every hour is land, and you must decide whether it becomes a construction zone for your vision or a playground for your distractions. Let's bring this down to a commitment. Design your week every Sunday. Design your day every night. Own your morning every time you wake. Let time become your servant, not your master. This is the law of time dominion. Live by it, and your life will accelerate. Ignore it, and your potential will sit idle. The clock is ticking either way. The only question is, will it count for you or against you? The man who commands his time doesn't just get more done. He becomes more. Because time, when honored, transforms into momentum. And momentum is the gateway to greatness. Number 10. The law of identity, death, and rebirth. There comes a moment when improvement is no longer enough. When habits aren't the answer. When discipline alone won't break the cycle. That's when you must confront the truth. You are not just fighting bad routines. You are fighting an outdated version of yourself. This is the law of identity, death, and rebirth. And it declares, you cannot become someone new until you are willing to kill who you used to be. Most people try to change their life by adjusting surface-level behaviors. They tweak their morning routine. They read a few books. They try to break bad habits. But they never fully let go of the identity behind those habits. And so the old self keeps coming back. Stronger, louder, more familiar. Because they never buried him. They just tried to outwork him. But here's what you must understand. You will always act like the man you believe yourself to be. And if you continue to carry the mindset of a version of you who quits, who doubts, who fears, who seeks validation, then no matter how many improvements you make, your subconscious will pull you back down. Until you change who you are, your results will always return to who you were. The man who truly transforms doesn't just build new habits. He buries the old identity. Fully. Finally. No apologies. No negotiation. Let's look at a powerful example. Malcolm X. Early in life, he was a hustler, a criminal, and eventually a prisoner. But prison didn't just change his routine. It changed his identity. He made a decision. The man who walked into that cell would not be the one who walked out. He read obsessively, studied history, philosophy, religion, and language. He educated and reprogrammed himself mentally and spiritually. By the time he left prison, he had killed the identity of Detroit Red, the nickname from his criminal past, and emerged as Malcolm X, a force of influence, clarity, and action. He didn't upgrade his old life. He stepped into a completely new one. That's identity rebirth, and that's what you must do if you want lasting change. Not add more routines. Don't wait until you feel different. You must decide to become someone else. Then start repeating that new identity until your thoughts, your voice, your actions, and your results catch up. Every time you act like your old self, you feed him. But every time you speak, move, and decide as the man you are becoming, you starve the old one. Eventually, he has no power left. Let's say it clearly. Comfort is the coffin of transformation. The old identity will beg you to stay comfortable, to do what's familiar, to delay your decisions, to be liked, not respected. But you must recognize that voice for what it is. A whisper from the man you've already outgrown. So how do you live by the law of identity, death, and rebirth? Step 1. Define the identity you must kill. Write down the characteristics of your old self. Be specific. The version of me who makes excuses, who breaks his word, who avoids discomfort, who seeks validation, who hides his power. Acknowledge it, then declare, that man is dead. Say it until it feels real. Step 2, declare the identity you are becoming. Again, be specific. I am focused. I am decisive. I finish what I start. I lead my emotions. I do hard things with consistency. I walk in clarity. Let this be your new code, your personal constitution. Step 3, align your behavior with that identity. Immediately, don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for circumstances to improve. Start acting like him now. From how you wake up, how you speak, how you handle pressure, to how you end your day. Repetition installs identity. Step 4, reject the voice of the old self without hesitation. When that inner voice says, slow down, you're not ready. This isn't you, you say back. That man no longer speaks for me. Train your mind to obey your current identity, not your historical habits. Say this out loud. The old me is gone. I lead now. I decide now. I move in alignment with who I have chosen to become. Let's look at Oprah Winfrey as one more example. Born into poverty, abused as a child, and doubted early in her career, she could have easily accepted a life shaped by limitation, but she chose differently. She didn't just build a show, she built a new identity, one grounded in influence, leadership, and inner strength. And she lived that identity out loud, again and again, until the world stopped seeing her past and started following her future. That's what this law requires: to burn the old script, to stop negotiating with outdated patterns, and to start living with the boldness of a man who already knows who he is. This isn't about ego, this is about authority. You are not here to apologize for your evolution. You are here to embody it fully, unapologetically, and relentlessly. So let this be your new standard. No more trying to fix the old you. No more tweaking mediocrity. From this moment on, you decide who you are. You act like him. You speak like him. You build like him. And every time the old identity tries to return, you shut the door and say, not today. I've already buried that man. This is the law of identity, death, and rebirth. It is not a suggestion. It is a turning point. You don't step into greatness. You rise into it. One decision, one declaration, one new identity at a time. The pen is in your hand. The old chapter is done. Now it's time to write the next one. With fire. You've now heard the 10 laws that don't merely inspire you for a moment, but are designed to reshape your life forever. These aren't feel-good principles. These are identity codes, transformation frameworks, mental rewiring tools that, when lived daily, will separate the man you were from the man you are destined to become. Because let's be honest, most people don't change because they don't have the right information. They don't change because they never commit to a new identity. They keep upgrading their habits while staying loyal to the same old self. But not you, not anymore. You now know that change doesn't happen through random motivation or emotional bursts. Change happens through law, through repetition, through structure, through choice. And each of these 10 laws gives you that structure. You now understand that what you repeat becomes who you are. That faith must be louder than fear. That clarity of purpose kills confusion. That specialized skill makes you irreplaceable. That your environment either fuels you or drains you. That your words are commands, not commentary. That motion creates momentum, not the other way around. That your inner voice will build or break your reality. That time isn't something you manage, it's something you command. And finally, that the man you were must die, if the man you're becoming is to live. This is the foundation of a new life, a new direction, a new identity. But I must warn you, listening to these laws once won't change you. Repeating them will. The mind doesn't bend to inspiration, it bends to rhythm. It responds to what is repeated with certainty, with emotion, with action. That's how the old patterns die. That's how new power is born. So here's your challenge. Pick one law today, just one. Start living it, declaring it, practicing it. And then tomorrow, another, then another. Stack them, revisit them. And when you feel doubt rising, return to this message, again and again, until the laws are no longer something you remember, there's something you embody. Say this aloud now. I am not who I was, I am what I repeat. These are the laws I live by. This is my new identity, and I never look back. You are not here to stay stuck. You are here to rise. You are not here to survive. You are here to rewrite. And now you have the map, the code, the fire. These are the 10 laws that will rewrite your life. Now go live them, and let the world witness your transformation.